gold is tangible, gold is scarce, it's incorruptible, can't be wished into existence by policymakers. And, you know, I think people need to understand this. They were also very big with silver, but not as much as gold, but still very much into silver, which is not just an industrial metal. It is not just a speculative metal. It's much more than that. And maybe Bank of America is even remotely right. If gold keeps climbing and the ratio compresses, as the article says, you know, I think that you will see a move in silver from here that would be far greater than most people are prepared for. So I don't know why I thought so much about this. I never talked deeply about gold like this, but as far as I'm concerned, gold and silver are far more important than people are being led to believe. And paper is a promise, and gold and silver are finality. Yeah, I read a really interesting article yesterday, and then I thought about it myself because I did a speech not too long ago. I was at a conference that was more related to mysticism in Canada. I was asked to speak at it, and there is a great interest in gold in that community, more so than I ever would have imagined. But the report that I read last night, which I found very interesting, talked about how across ancient civilizations, gold was treated as something transcendent. In Egypt, it was associated with the divine, like the flesh of the gods. And this is all around the same time, way predating any form of global communication. The Incas saw it as the sweat of the sun. The Hindu and the Buddhist traditions symbolizes purity and enlightenment, prosperity, permanence. The Greeks thought gold belonged to the realm of the gods and the immortals because gold has qualities unlike anything else. As a metal, it does not corrode, it does not rust, it does not tarnish, it does not decay. It endures. You can't get rid of it. You can't destroy it. You melt it, it coagulates and forms again. You throw it at the bottom of the ocean, pull it out 400 years later, it will look brand new. Maybe this is why so many civilizations saw something in gold more than wealth, and today is the same thing. They saw permanence. And the speech that I gave, when I think about gold and its relevance, it's very deep to me. I mean, when you realize how important and permanent gold is, precision, and the mindset of the ancients, you know, the ancient Egyptians more than any, all these civilizations reveled in gold, and they understood how to mine it, to refine it. You look at King Tut's mask and the precision, the symmetry, it would rival anything modern goldsmiths could do today. And it's like gold is deeper than all of us, and it's in our DNA because of it. And when you look at the ancient civilization of the Egyptians, mostly, who had a massive affinity for gold, I started in that speech, this is just interesting. I gave kind of tried to draw an analogy like, okay, so this is 5,000 years ago and they know how to do this, right? And then I started looking at the Great Pyramid. Just check this out. Now, this is a deviation from what we always talk about, but it's cool if you think about gold and how it was central to their thoughts. And then think about this 5,000 years ago. The Great Pyramid, roughly 2.5 million stone blocks, around 6 million tons, rising 481 feet high with a footprint of more than 13 acres. Okay, we all know that. Its sides are aligned with astonishing accuracy to 1/15 of a degree to true north, I believe. The base is remarkably level. The lengths of the sides are extraordinarily close to one another, despite their sheer size of the structure and the massive weights involved. And we think about the scale of what that means. Stone blocks weighing between 2 and 40 tons, transported, fitted, aligned, lifted. A structure built with such precision that even now forces people to stop and ask how. And the celestial component. This is the cool part about the Great Pyramid, and think about their affinity to gold. Okay, now take a step back, right? Okay, so the ancients were obsessed with order and the equinoxes, right? And that's what mattered to them. When you talk about the equinox, which is the longest day of the year, I believe, you take the number of seconds in the day of the equinox, and you multiply it by the base, and you multiply it by the height. When you multiply it by the base, it's like within 1/100th. It's 99.9% accurate to the circumference of the Earth at the equator. And if you multiply it by the height, the number of seconds in the equinox, by the height of the pyramid, it's 99.9% accurate to the radius of the Earth, like at the equators, at the polar cap, around that way. You know what I'm trying to say? Anyways, the point of it is that when you go back that far and ask how the hell could they do that? Well, how the hell could they mine gold and refine it and turn it into works of perfectly symmetrical art, symbolism, masks, whatever, that would rival what advanced goldsmiths could do today? I guess I say this because I think people need to understand that gold is tangible, gold is scarce, it's incorruptible, can't be wished into existence by policymakers. And, I think people need to understand this. They were also very big with silver, but not as much as gold, but still very much into silver, which is not just an industrial metal. It is not just a speculative metal. It's much more than that. And maybe Bank of America is even remotely right. If gold keeps climbing and the ratio compresses, as the article says, I think that you will see a move in silver from here that would be far greater than most people are prepared for. So I don't know why I thought so much about this. I never talked deeply about gold like this, but as far as I'm concerned, gold and silver are far more important than people are being led to believe. And paper is a promise, and gold and silver are finality, unlimited cash, limited hard assets. And when price finally meets value, which rarely happens, but if it does, it won't happen politely. So I guess that's all I wanted to say, is that you go back as far as you want to biblical times and you see a significance of gold and silver that have been ignored. And even though history doesn't always repeat, it certainly rhymes. And here we are, thousands of years past when the ancient Egyptians or Incans or Mayas were accumulating gold and silver for properties and qualities far bigger than investment. Here we are, and the most well-informed traders on the globe continue to do so. You do not be distracted by the price. Do not be distracted by the noise, and look at the reality of it. And is that gold and silver are coming full circle back into the realm of significance, and not paper significance, real significance of delivery and of lack of counterparty risk. And I think, I don't know, these are the kind of things that keep me up at night. Like, it's far deeper than it's just a commodity. It isn't. And you go back to the beginning of time and understand this, and you begin to see a bigger picture. Makes it easier for me to be calm about it, because if it was that important 6,000 years ago, it's probably far more important today. And I don't know. That's all I wanted to say. Hopefully some people got a little bit of interesting tidbit out of that. To me, it's just a deeper reflection of what it truly is to man. To that person's point, well, I'm having lunch with Catherine on Wednesday. I'm very excited about this, by the way, and I'll ask her about that. That company, which doesn't need to be named, their premiums are ridiculous. And that's true. So if you're able to buy them, in this case, at effectively, you would be getting these almost $200 less than a gold eagle. And in 2008, and 9, I would have paid you $1,000 over spot for them. Where a Gold Eagle, I would have only paid you 1 or 2% over spot. So 1,020, or excuse me, be 1,100. Would that be right? No, that's 10%. No, it would be, that's right. It would be 1,020. So, you know, instead of 1,800. So there are times when, if you get them at a right price, they're unbeatable. This is it's you're buying something. See, that's what I have always focused on. That company you're talking about focuses on rare dates. Now, you don't need to buy a rare date. Even the common stuff they sell way too expensive. But rare dates you don't need unless you are a very sophisticated collector. And you know, people will normally call us looking for ways to protect themselves in an environment they find concerning. Well, the last thing you want then is something fancy schmancy. But if you can buy a gold coin that is a part of Americana, a part of history that is uncirculated and is way less than a Gold Eagle in an uncirculated condition, where 90% of my career it's been way more, well, that's a good thing. It's just, there's always context that needs to be put into place. But that particular company is notoriously known for selling things too high, in which case everything I just said you throw out the window. Bottom line, you get numismatics anywhere near spot, there's in uncirculated condition in a 64, there's very little you can say negative about them. In fact, I would choose to own those just about 10 times out of 10 over anything else in that situation.
One caveat is IRA eligibility. So just
not IRA
not
eligible.
IRA eligible. All right, Andy, we appreciate that. Thanks.
Nor is the pre-65 silver, by the way.